Anna Kasparian is not well.
Developers in New York are trying to entice high-end renters with out-of-the-box amenities. Now, what are we talking about? Are we talking about, fancy kitchens, high-end appliances? No. They already have all that stuff. They need to provide more, and so what they're offering is something known as amenities programming. What's that? When every luxury building begins to appear indistinguishable with the same attention to detail, the same high-end appliances and tasteful finishes, developers have to look elsewhere to lure tenants. And so what they do is they offer seminars, baking classes, you get together with other people in the building to learn how to make chocolate.
Yeah. So
look at how she's reacting to a building offering baking classes. Just think about that for a second. Is that so shocking and bizarre that a building would offer baking classes? And look at the way she says it. Baking classes? Like it's nuts, right? It's like they're offering some kind of baby painting class where like a naked baby sits in front of a group of strangers who paint the baby. I mean, that'd be kind of bizarre, right? That would be, and I would be like, what? Baby painting? No, just normal stuff. Baking classes, seminars on whatever, like mundane, like who cares? But look at her reaction compared to the things she's talking about. She's unhinged.
You know how we talk about projection all the time on the show, the right-wingers who are gay themselves, think everybody else is gay, the ones that are pedophiles say everybody else is pedophiles, right? Anna's doing that, but not on bad issues. Anna's doing that with who would want to hang out with their neighbors? And there's some
He's exactly right. Anna, I honestly believe she's a deeply troubled person. And this is not just me having a partisan take on her or something like that. I've watched her for quite some time, and I've observed the statements that she's made about certain things. She's got this very sort of antisocial component to her. Many times she said this, like she doesn't like to talk to strangers, just stay away from me, don't want to talk to you. Like I try to hide from my neighbors. Like think about, that's your right if you don't want to talk to people, but just think about a person that just is so like, I don't want to talk to people, whatever, and it's such a big deal. Like, what is your issue? Right? And then she gets all unhinged because people in New York, the buildings want to offer cooking classes. Like, what? And again, Tank is accurately pointing out that part of her issue is probably the idea of spending time with neighbors is bizarre to her. Now, I'm a person currently living in New York, and I love my neighbors, right? We have a little bit of a community here where we look out for each other, right? And I'm thinking of building in the future, just to tell you where we're at, I'm thinking about building like an entertainment room, and I would love to invite my neighbors over, and we can enjoy like movies or whatever, and I want to do like events and stuff, maybe do like a barbecue, right? Because I'm not an unhinged, antisocial like person like she is. And she's also mentioned stuff about like she smokes weed or something like that, and it's not the fact that she smokes, that's irrelevant. The reason she says she does it, something like she needs it to get through the day. Like this is someone who has some serious emotional issues, clearly. Again, it's not putting her down or trying to be not sympathetic. I'm just simply pointing something out because I think a lot of people aren't aware of this. And she even made a video where she was just totally lack of just self-awareness. I think there was somebody in the right wing making comments about liberal women, probably like a PragerU video, and she was just like, oh, they have this crazy idea that we're all like weirdo, whatever, blah, blah. I don't know whatever she was saying, but whatever she was saying that they were accusing, like, that's her. She's a representation of the exact same thing that was coming from the right. Now, the right, whoever it was, PragerU, it was nonsense what they were saying, but she's not the one to point that out because she's a representation of the exact same thing. Just an unhinged, antisocial, right? If you even listen to how she talks about her relationship sometimes, I mean, yeah.
Yes, that others might want to hang out
No,
with their
you
neighbors.
don't. No, you don't. Guys, this is in New York. This is in New York City. This is in New York City.
What is all that? What is all that? Look at all the animation and the energy. Ooh, this is like, what? This is a non-story. A building offering cooking classes. Who cares?
Can we just no? But like, take that in, Jenk. Take that in. This is in New York. You're surrounded with things to do. Go outside, live your life, touch grass, get off the internet. Like, what are you doing?
Get off the internet. So she's saying get off the internet to people who might want to leave their apartments and go to a cooking class and socialize with real people in the real world. And her response to them is to get off the internet. So apparently going to a cooking class in your building is on the internet.
You're afraid to walk outside of your building? No, this is madness. It's unacceptable. I don't allow it.
Ah, so funny. By the way, I find it totally benign.
Afraid to walk outside of your building. This, I think, is the partisan brain fog. What do you want to call it? This is her anti-social / anti-capitalistic way of thinking, right? She's in this bubble where, capitalism is evil. And it's not capitalism itself that's evil, right? Capitalism is a great tool for evil people to use, right? But it can be used for good as well. Just like socialism is a great tool that evil people can also exploit as well, right? It's not about capitalism, it's not about socialism. It's about the people in power and how corrupt they are, right? But she seems to take on this thing. It's almost like how the right with their CRT, they create this boogeyman. It's like, CRT is Satan. She looks at capitalism as satanic, right? So, when you talk about, first of all, you talk about luxury buildings, right? How do you get a luxury building? That's capitalism, right? And then the people who can afford to rent those places, right? These are satanic people. They're satanic, right? So that's the real problem. It's not about the cooking classes. Because I bet you if this was something being offered in a normal building, not a high income area, just a regular, let's say, apartment building in a working class area, she'd probably be saying, this is great, this is awesome, I wish more buildings offered this, right? So it's not really about what they're doing. It's about this anti-capitalistic and class warfare, right? I have problems with the elites, but my problem is not just this cartoonish view, right? I don't just because you have money that's a problem. No, my concern is with the 1%, the people at the very top, the people with the most money who pull a lot of the strings, who buy our politicians, right? My concern is about reality, things that matter. The fact that a guy living a few miles from me, maybe he started a business and he's got $10 million in the bank, irrelevant, right? Now, if you tell me he's doing some shady stuff, then that's different. But I don't care that you're wealthy. I don't care that you're rich, right? Your wealth means nothing to me. What matters to me are the people at the top pulling the strings. And if you're just a little poor 10 millionaire and you're somehow involved in that process, well, I got an issue with you as well. But again, the real problem is with the actual problem. And wealth is not the problem. You could have $100 million, $500 million. That does nothing. What matters is what you do, what actions you take, what you do with that money and power. But that's not the way she thinks. She doesn't think in a very rational, logical way, right? Automatically, signs of wealth and whatever prosperity, it's like, oh, these elites, right? And that's what she's doing right now. That's the real problem. It's not about the classes. It's not about getting outside of your home and staying off the internet. No, It's about very wealthy people living in a wealthy building, getting something, and it's just like, ugh, right?
Fine.
No.
And I think this might be our biggest disagreement. I mean, this has got yuppie written all over it.
This is New York City. What's the point in living in Manhattan, right? Where you're surrounded by endless options. If you need to pay a premium, you're paying a premium for amenities.
All right, let me explain this to her. And it's not that she's not smart enough. Again, she's caught up in this bubble, this anti-capitalistic bubble. That's really the problem, right? But let me explain to her what the point would be beyond what the stated point, right? They stated that's a way to distinguish themselves from other buildings that are also, luxury, whatever, right? This is a way that you can stand out. So it's a business thing, it's a marketing thing, right? But beyond that, I'm looking at it from a perspective of why would there be value? Why would renters care about this stuff, right? Okay, very simple. If you can afford to live in some fancy, luxurious building in Manhattan where a regular apartment might cost you $3,000, $4,000, right? That's a regular apartment, so I can't imagine what the luxury one costs, right? I can actually. $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. If you got money like that, I can assure you odds are very high that you didn't get that kind of money by having a lot of time on your hands, right? You're probably busted your ass hustling with your business or whatever it is, or you're some high level executive and you got crazy stress and pressure and you're doing long hours. I mean, you look at places like Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is, I hate to use the word sweatshop because they get paid very, very well, but the way they work you there, that's the parallel, not the compensation. They compensate you very well, but the work, life balance is ridiculous. People are leaving the office at 10 p.m. That's the kind of stuff that you see happening at a place like Goldman Sachs, right? So if you're the kind of person that makes that kind of money, you probably have an insane life. Your work-life balance is insane. Add to that Manhattan and traffic and getting around and all this kind of mumble with the subways broken down, right? So it would make a lot of sense that it would be very valuable to people who can afford a place like that to have the convenience of simply jumping in the elevator and going to another floor for some cooking class rather than wasting an hour just to go a few miles, right, for the same thing. Right? Convenience. That's one of the things that's very big in a city like Manhattan. Convenience. That's why people pay the money to live there. All those things that Anna's talking about, that's one of the reasons people live there, because they have so many options, right? Well, what would be more convenient than that? If you have a lot of stuff in the very building that you have, so you can sidestep the traffic and all the mess that comes with living in a big city. That's the point. Right? It's not some crazy, oh my goodness, blah, blah, blah. Cooking classes in your building. That would be awesome. I wish I had that. Anyway, she's unhinged. That's my opinion. This is the Baby Channel. The Baby in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.